Have you ever noticed someone who never posts online? No selfies, no updates, no birthday posts, no vacation photos. They're there quietly scrolling, maybe liking a post here and there, but their own feed stays still. In a world where visibility has become a kind of currency, their silence stands out. And we often don't know what to make of it. Are they shy or withdrawn? Or have they mastered something about themselves and about social media that many of us are still trying to figure out? Because while many of us share moments to feel connected, some find that real connection happens when they simply live them. This video isn't about judging people who post or putting non-posters on a pedestal. It's about exploring what that choice, choosing to share less publicly, reveals about your emotional intelligence, or EI, your self-awareness, your boundaries, your inner confidence, and your relationship with your own mind in the digital age. Whether you post all the time, sometimes, or almost never, this conversation isn't really about what you do. It's about why, and what that why might reveal about you. Let me ask you something. If you accomplished something significant and nobody online knew about it, would it still feel meaningful to you? Your honest answer reveals a lot about emotional independence. Emotional independence is the ability to maintain your sense of worth and identity without constant external reinforcement. Social media has challenged this capacity in ways we're only beginning to understand. Think about posting something you're proud of that gets less engagement than expected. Notice the emotional response. Disappointment, second-guessing, even questioning whether it mattered. That shows how much your emotional state depends on external validation. Now contrast that with someone who completes a meaningful project, solves a difficult problem, or has a profound personal insight and never mentions it publicly. What drives that choice? Often their sense of accomplishment feels complete internally, without the need for outside confirmation. People who choose not to post often evaluate their own worth, experiences, and growth based on internal criteria, rather than external metrics. This is emotional independence. Their emotional stability doesn't fluctuate with other people's reactions. Their self-worth isn't attached to likes, views, or shares. This doesn't mean they ignore others' opinions. It means they've maintained the capacity to know their value, whether anyone acknowledges it or not. And it doesn't mean frequent posters lack emotional independence. Many highly self-aware people share because they want to, and not because they need to. Likes, views, or shares might feel good, but they don't define them. The difference isn't posting versus not posting. It's about where your sense of self comes from. Do you mostly discover who you are by watching how others react to you? Does your mood crash when a post doesn't perform? Do you feel invisible without constant online activity? Or do you already have a grounded sense of yourself, with social media as an optional extension rather than the source? When you know who you are when no one is watching, you stop performing your life and start living it. There's a quiet kind of strength in choosing what stays yours, not out of secrecy, but out of self-understanding. In a world that encourages constant sharing, some people are guided by something different, a sense of inner clarity about what parts of their life feel most authentic when kept close. Psychologists call this privacy orientation, but in emotional intelligence, it's really a form of self-regulation, a thoughtful pause between impulse and action, a moment where you ask yourself, does sharing this support who I am or distract me from it? For many people who rarely post, this isn't about hiding. It doesn't mean they are antisocial. They may be incredibly expressive, warm, and open, more so in person than out in public. They simply might prefer real conversations over digital projection. They don't feel the urge to announce something in order to experience it fully. They understand that meaning doesn't require an audience. Meanwhile, people who post more often may be meeting different emotional needs: creativity, expression, storytelling, connection, or community. And that can be emotionally intelligent too, when it's intentional, not impulsive. So the question isn't, is privacy better than visibility? The emotional intelligent question is, am I sharing or staying quiet in a way that actually supports my well-being? Because when you choose what stays yours, you're not hiding from the world, you're deepening your connection to it. Let me ask you this. When you reach for your phone to post, do you know what emotion is driving that impulse? Emotional self-awareness, a key pillar of EI, starts with understanding your motivations before you act. Here's what happens neurologically every time we post and receive attention through likes, comments, or shares. The brain releases dopamine, the same chemical involved in reward and addiction. Over time, the mind starts anticipating that reward. We're not always choosing to post. We're often responding to a conditioned trigger. We begin thinking, is this postable? We frame our experiences before we've even finished having them. Dopamine isn't bad. It's part of how we learn and grow. But emotionally, something shifts. Think about the last time you experienced something genuinely meaningful, like an achievement you're proud of, or a special moment, like witnessing a beautiful sunset. What happened next? Did you immediately think about how to frame it for others on social media? That's your reward system activating before you've even finished living the moment. You're in it, but you're also outside it, watching yourself go through it. People who post less often have, consciously or not, broken this loop. Instead of chasing micro hits of validation, they tolerate the discomfort of not getting the immediate emotional payoff and find satisfaction in the experience itself. They have learned that some feelings need time to process privately before they're shared. Some moments need to be lived before they're explained. People who regularly choose digital silence often discover that the quiet satisfaction of a private experience can be more rewarding than the dopamine hit of engagement. However, some frequent posters have a healthy relationship with sharing. They enjoy storytelling, capturing moments, or connecting with others, and they can do all of that while still being fully present in their own lives. The key is awareness. Do you control the behavior, or does it control you? Quiet confidence is the ability to enjoy your life fully, even when no one else is watching. Do you know where your boundaries are online? Not just your privacy settings, but your emotional boundaries? How much of yourself do you share? There's a different kind of intelligence at play when someone chooses not just privacy, but protection. Not everything we feel or experience is meant to be held up to public interpretation. Some things lose their meaning the moment they're opened to commentary, comparison, or judgment. This is where boundary awareness enters the conversation. The emotional intelligence of knowing which moments are too tender, too personal, or too sacred to hand over to the world. Psychologists call this psychological ownership, the sense that an experience, a memory, a thought belongs deeply to you. And the moment you post it, that ownership shifts. It becomes shared property, open to interpretation, opinion, and sometimes even judgment. For some, that exchange feels worthwhile. Sharing their story creates connection and meaning. For others, the trade feels too costly, like giving away too much of themselves. People with high boundary awareness pause before posting. They ask, will sharing this deepen the experience or dilute it? Am I posting to connect or to be seen? Is this moment fully mine yet, or will it lose something once it goes public? That pause, that moment of mindfulness, is emotional intelligence. It's the recognition that not everything must be witnessed to be real, and that some of the most transformative moments in life happen in private. No cameras, no audience, just you. Boundary awareness isn't secrecy, it's self-respect. It's choosing what parts of yourself the world gets access to and what parts remain yours alone. Have you ever watched someone's vacation post and suddenly felt your life is boring? Social media can pull us into a comparison culture where we're constantly measuring ourselves against everyone else. A principle in psychology called social comparison theory explains that we're wired to evaluate ourselves in relation to others. It's how we understand where we fit in the world. But social media supercharges that instinct. We're not comparing ourselves to a few people anymore, but to thousands of highlight reels. That is what is called automatic social comparison. It means we unconsciously compare ourselves to others, and that can get exhausting. We start internalizing everything we see as data about our own adequacy. Someone's achievement becomes proof that we don't feel good enough, or someone's relationship highlight shines a light on what's missing in ours. It's easy to assume non-posters have escaped this. However, the reality is more nuanced. They still scroll, they still see, they still feel the pull. The difference is how they respond. Many who keep some digital distance do so because they have recognized this pattern in themselves. They've noticed how comparison erodes their emotional well-being and choose healthy detachment instead. That doesn't mean they don't care. It means they can genuinely be happy for others without measuring themselves against them. They remember someone's post is just a highlight reel and not a full story. They recognize emotional triggers and adjust their behavior to stay balanced. Frequent posters can develop this skill too. The EI practice isn't that you should never post. It's about noticing how posting, or even scrolling, makes you feel, and to make choices that protect your inner world and self-concept. Notice when comparison starts. Notice when you're measuring your worth against someone else's visible success. And then consciously choose whether to engage with that feeling or let it pass. Let's talk about one of the most misunderstood parts of this conversation: authenticity. Here's the assumption: those who don't post are more authentic than those who do. But is that actually true? Psychologists use the word congruence, the alignment between who you are inside and who you show to the world. And this is where it gets complex. Some people don't post because they feel they can't be authentic online. They feel a pressure to present a certain version of themselves, so they opt out entirely. For them, not posting is the authentic choice. However, while some stay quiet because they've chosen privacy and presence, others stay quiet because they're afraid of being seen. They might wonder, what if people judge me? What if I'm not interesting enough? What if I say something wrong? In that case, the quiet isn't freedom but fear. Others find authenticity through sharing. They feel congruent when they're open about their struggles, their joy, their truth. For them, posting is the authentic choice. Emotional intelligence begins with being honest about which one it is for you. If staying quiet helps you feel more grounded and peaceful, that's a healthy, conscious choice. If silence comes from anxiety or fear of judgment, it might stem from a place within you needing care or support. The reverse is also true. If you post because you genuinely love expression and connection, that's wonderful. However, if you post because the idea of disappearing feels unbearable or the resulting attention defines your worth, maybe that's something to notice and explore. Because EI isn't about always getting it right. It's about recognizing your patterns honestly, noticing the difference between choice and compulsion. It's not really about posting or not posting, it's about this. Are you in charge of your relationship with social media, or has it quietly taken charge of you? So what does all of this say about your EI in this digital age? That the relationship between social media and emotional intelligence is more complex than it looks. It's the reasons behind your relationship with posting that matters. For many people, choosing not to post reflects a strong sense of self-awareness, clear boundaries around what's sacred, and regulation of emotions around validation. They don't need to be seen to feel real. They know their life has meaning, even if only a handful of people ever witness it. At the same time, people who do post can be just as emotionally intelligent, using social media as a space for authenticity, vulnerability, creativity, and community. The real difference isn't between the silent and the visible. It's between unconscious behavior and conscious choice. EI in the digital age sounds like this. I know why I post. I know why I don't. I understand how this affects me emotionally. And I'm willing to adjust my behavior to protect my peace. Being unseen doesn't mean being insignificant. Being quiet doesn't mean being empty. Sometimes, the most emotionally intelligent thing you can do is to live a moment fully without turning it into content. And sometimes, the most emotionally intelligent thing you can do is share that moment honestly so someone else feels less alone. Both can be wise. Both can be beautiful. What matters is that when you choose, you know you're making the most emotionally intelligent choice for you. If you'd like to keep exploring your own EI in today's modern world, consider subscribing to the EI Code, because we don't just decode behavior, we decode the emotions behind it, so you can live your best life with greater awareness, depth, and peace. That's emotional intelligence, and it always starts with you. If you want to go deeper or apply this in your own life, I've linked a few helpful resources related to this topic in the description below. Now, there's another video on your screen that looks at a different emotional challenge shaped by the digital world.